Hey, we're back with 3.1 Swyk 2. I'm going to slide this over in the middle. Should have done that earlier. I feel like I'm staring off to the side when I look. Helps me stay focused, I think. Okay, so we start off with a question very similar to what you did before. So that's just a matter of review. That's nothing fantastic there. Get the radical by itself, square it, and move on with basic properties of algebra. So nothing new on that particular question. It's important that you get it down, so I put some extra in there. Okay, now we get to question 8, and I want you to notice something. We have an x value or a variable that's outside the radical. Now we need to check for extraneous solutions. Okay, so even though we're going to go through this process, when we get done, we may or may not have two good solutions. We shall see. Okay, so first thing you can see, we wanted the radical by itself, so I pushed the 4 over to the other side. That left me with x minus 4. Then we could immediately switch to squaring. This time, though, something different happened. The x minus 4 gets squared. What does that mean? That means x minus 4 times x minus 4. That means I have to FOIL this. I know, you didn't want to FOIL. Oh well. Obviously on the other side, the square and the square root just canceled out, so they're gone. You do not need to use boxes if you don't like boxes. If you want to sit there and draw arrows and do this kind of thing, go for it. Okay, firsts, outsides, insides, lasts. You got to do all 4 of them, and then add up any like terms. I just like the boxes because it helps me organize things. And later down the road, there's going to be bigger multiplication, and you end up with bigger boxes. And so it just kind of makes sense to me. But, that's up to you, what you want to do. Nothing wrong the other way. So we ended up with x squared minus 8x plus 16. Now you're going to notice something right here. I decided I would move these other two things back to the other side. Back in our quadratics chapter, we did these kind of solving problems where we pushed everything over to the left side. We couldn't just put the x squared on one side and put the other things on the other and take a square root. That only happens if you do not have a linear term. And we clearly have a linear term. So that's just not an option. You're either going to have to factor it, which that's the preferred option, complete the square, nobody likes completing the square, or the big bad boy, the quadratic formula. If we can factor it, we'll stay away from the quadratic formula. So we'll see. So I ended up subtracting 3x, right? Minus 3x and plus 12. And we ended up with x squared minus 11x plus 28. So we needed to think about factors of 28 that add up to negative 11. Obviously, they both have to be minuses. Otherwise, that won't happen. So yes, you've already seen it. You got x minus 7 and x minus 4. That is your factorization. Of course, that equals 0 because we pushed everything over to the right side, and we had it equal 0 already over there. Setting the factors equal to 0. This particular step that I'm writing down, we've done enough of it. It's kind of an optional thing. You don't need to show that work, but that is the truth. That's what you're doing. So we end up with 7 and 4. Now we need to check for extraneous solutions to see if it actually will both work. I think when I did this the first time, I think I assumed that it would work. Let's see what happens. So everywhere where there's an x, I'm going to replace with a 7. Okay, so let's see, that's 21. 21, take away 12, that's 9. So we got the square root of 9 plus 4, which is 3 plus 4, which is 7. Okay, so that's a good one. That worked out. So we know we can keep that one. Now, how about the 4? 4 equals 3 times 4 minus 12 plus 4. Okay, so 3 times 4, that's 12. 12 minus 12, that's 0. The square root of 0, Well, that's 0. So all you're going to be left with is 4 on this side. Cha-ching! That one worked too. So we ended up getting 2 good solutions in 4 and 7. It doesn't always work out that way, folks. Sometimes you lose one of your answers. Sometimes in the process, we do all the math right, but we end up with a wrong answer. Okay, question 9. Solve. Check for extraneous solutions. So when we say get the radical by itself kind of thing, this time we're moving a radical to the other side by adding it. Right? It's negative. So we add it to the other side, then it becomes positive. And then we have radicals on both sides by themselves. We could square both sides. Nice that the radicals all disappear. Because now I just have 3y plus 3, 2y plus 12. I can start moving things around, like subtract the 2y over to the other side, minus 2y. Okay, then we can subtract a 3 to the other side. Ends up giving me the right answer right away, y equals 9, didn't have to do any division, anything like that. Is it possible I could come up with, no, we don't have a variable outside the radicals, so I don't think you're going to have to worry about a possible solution. If it really bothers you, you know, down deep inside, you can always plug it in and check, right? Because 2 times 3 plus 12, well, what do we end up with? 27 plus 3 is 30. Wait, that's a 9. What in the world am I doing wrong? It's a 9. That makes more sense. 2 times 9 is 18, plus 12 is also 30, so radical 30 minus radical 30 does work out. I didn't think it was going to be a problem. We are scratching question 10. Not doing it. Excuse me, I feel a sneeze coming on. As I was saying, question 10, I took that off of your assignment. So I took it off the Swyk, took it off the assignment, and took it off the test. It's more complicated than I wanted to. When I saw the question show up, I thought, oh, I do not want to go there. All right, so some of these problems you can make more complicated than they need to be. So the radical was by itself, fantastic. We squared both sides, which did cause me to do FOIL on the left side, right? Or I mean on the right side. The x plus 2 times x plus 2. Use a box, don't use a box. It's up to you, but I got x squared, 4x, and 4. Now on the left side, the square and the square root cancel out. And so we ended up with x squared plus 8. Notice anything that cancels out? Well, I'm hoping you see this and this. And they can be subtracted. So I just crossed them off because that's what I'm doing, subtraction. And so I got a much easier problem now. 4x plus 4 equals 8. So that's why we brought this over to the other side, giving me 4x equals 4 and dividing and getting an x value of 1. And now we're done with the question. You can plug it back in, but you're not having, oh, we do have a variable outside the radical, so we better check. So 1 squared plus 8, all right, that's 1 plus 8, which is 9, so it's the square root of 9. On the other side, we have 1 plus 2, which is 3. Ding, 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 good answer. All right, that's enough for Swyk 2. See ya.